Now Leicester are celebrating winning the Championship title and completing an immediate return to the Premier League. They beat Preston 3-0 with Jamie Vardy scoring twice. Attention now turns to the futures of some of their key players and the possible sanctions from the Premier League and the EFL. Well, our senior reporter Rob Dorsett joins me now. Rob, first of all, how important was it for Leicester to win promotion straight away as they have done?
I think it was absolutely vital. I mean, amidst all the celebrations, I think there's an awful lot of relief as well for Leicester City. I mean, if you look at those celebrations last night at Deepdale, it was joyous, wasn't it? You saw the players, you saw the ownership, you saw the fans all united in that sense of celebration. And look, they've played the best brand of football. Their possession-based football under Enzo Maresca has been extraordinary, and I think he is very confident that that can compete in the Premier League as well. But if you look at the facts, Leicester have won the Premier League, they've won the FA Cup, they've won the Championship twice, all in the last 10 years. So they needed to get back up there. The facts of the matter were that their wage bill, when they were relegated this time last year, was in the top 8 of the Premier League. It simply wasn't on their radar after all of those great finishes. 5 consecutive finishes in the top 10. 2 of them at 5th when really they should have made the Champions League. It wasn't in their business plan, relegation, and how to cope with it. So I think if they hadn't gone back up this time, there might have been real financial concerns for Leicester. And they've still got some of those concerns now because of their pretty unique circumstances.
Yeah, explain a little bit more about that, because there is this talk about a potential points deduction. How likely is it that Leicester might actually start next season with a deduction?
I think there's a strong possibility Leicester might start next season with a points deduction. Their lawyers will fight it very, very hard. And they will apply mitigation. But the facts of the matter are the Premier League have charged them for allegedly breaching the PSR rules in their final season in the Premier League up to 2023. And we expect there to be an independent commission convened now to hear that case. And look, Forest and Everton have argued very vociferously against their PSR charges, and they've both been given points deductions. So I think there's a really strong chance that Leicester will get one, and it may well be in place for when they start the Premier League season, which is really tough for them to take and a really hard situation. And don't forget, they are facing potential sanction from the EFL as well. The EFL have put out various statements over the last few months saying that they believe Leicester are in line to breach their profit and sustainability rules this season. And Leicester have always said, well, hang on, the season hasn't even finished yet. Our accounts period goes up till the end of June. So how can you say we're going to breach when we haven't even finished our accounting period yet? I think that means they might have to sell some players before the end of June to make sure that they don't breach the EFL rules this time.
So what does that then mean in terms of this Leicester squad? Will there be much money at all to then spend on transfers?
I think it's going to be more limited than they're used to. I mean, I mentioned there that they've had the 8th biggest wage bill in the Premier League, in the top 8 in recent seasons. I don't think it'll be that big now, but I think they are confident they will be competitive. But the fact of the matter is, realistically, they need to sell a player, and a big player, before the end of June, when their accounting period ends for this season. Otherwise, they could technically be in breach with the EFL. And that, you have to say, makes Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, their best player, his future a little bit uncertain. I think there's a really strong chance that Dewsbury-Hall might be sold by Leicester before the end of June. We know that Brentford and Brighton came in with interest in him in January, but both of those were knocked back. I think the reality is they may have to sell that man on your screen now. That's the easiest way that Leicester can solve their PSR concerns for this season. They could do it other ways by selling a number of other players, but as an academy graduate, selling Dewsbury-Hall is the easiest one. And Leicester have always done that. They've always sold some of their big players, one big player a season, in order to reintegrate that money and invest elsewhere in the squad. So it's not unheard of. That's Dewsbury-Hall. The other interesting one is Abdul Fatawu, who now Leicester have an obligation to buy from Sporting. And a snip, an absolute bargain he's been. He's been outstanding for Leicester this season. £14.5 million, my understanding is, the obligation to buy him. So his loan we expect to be made permanent for Leicester. It's just about possible that Leicester could buy him and sell him in the same transfer window, which would be extraordinary. If they don't sell Dewsbury-Hall, then Fatawu is definitely another asset they can look to. But I think they want to try and keep him in the Premier League if they possibly can. Expect him to be formally a Leicester player in the next couple of weeks. And then you've got the future of Leicester's greatest ever player, Jamie Vardy. Everybody's talking about it, aren't they? Is there another season in him? Well, look, he showed with his 2 goals last night that he's still got an awful lot to offer. He's still got the appetite. Now that Leicester are back in the Premier League, I think that's key for Jamie Vardy staying as well. I would fully expect Jamie Vardy to sign a new contract, probably a year's extension, to remain as a Leicester player in the next few days, maybe the next couple of weeks. But I don't think the game for Leicester on Saturday when they'll be presented with the Championship trophy. I don't expect that to be Jamie Vardy's last game in a Leicester City shirt.